Students, welcome back to my class. In the last class, we discussed some of the elements of direction, that is supervision and motivation. So, instructing, guiding and observing the employee in the workplace and helping him to solve the problems is known as supervision, and we understood why supervision is important because it tries to maintain unity and it helps to accomplish the goals of the organization, it helps to adapt for the changes, right, and it improves the morale of the employees. And then we studied what is motivation, why motivation is important and what is the motivation process, what are the components of motivation and what are the features of motivation. In the today's class, I am going to explain you what are the financial and non-financial incentives of motivation as well as one of the motivational theories. Understanding motivation or what motivates the employee, what are the motives inside the human being is not so simple. Therefore, the various psychologists, they have conducted research and they have given their own motivational theories. Okay. Here in this syllabus, we are going to study only one motivational theory, that is need hierarchy theory. Need hierarchy theory, and this theory is given by Abraham Maslow. Okay. Abraham Maslow, he has given motivational theory called need hierarchy theory. He is US American based psychologist and he conducted a lot of experiments on people in the workplace, and then finally he draw his own theory based on his observation on the behavior of the employees. Okay. That theory is considered as a need hierarchy theory. According to Abraham Maslow, every human being is having 5 sets of different needs. All the needs of human beings can be categorized into 5 sets and they are common in every human being and they follow the same order. Every human being, irrespective of their different backgrounds, they follow the same order, and he categorizes human needs into 5. They are physiological needs, okay. Second one, safety or security needs. Third one, social needs. Fourth one, esteem needs, and the fifth one, self-actualization needs. So, a human being, whoever he or she may be, they have only 5 different sets of needs. They are physiological, safety and security, social needs, esteem needs and self-actualization needs. Okay. First and foremost, let us understand individually about these needs. Physiological needs are basic needs. Basic needs of a human being. What are the basic needs of a human being? Food, shelter, clothing, sleep. These are considered as basic needs of a human being. Therefore, a job should be capable enough to satisfy the basic needs. The salary, whatever I am getting, that should be capable of satisfying needs like food. I should be able to feed my family and I should be able to live either in a own house or in a considerably good rented house, and I should be able to fulfill my clothing needs and I should be able to fulfill any such basic needs which is become very essential to fulfill my basic requirements. Okay, that is called as basic needs. So, Maslow says that if a person is not able to fulfill this basic needs, then he will not be able to concentrate in his workplace. Say for example, you are very hungry, you are not able to eat food, then Can you concentrate in the work? You may not be able to concentrate, right? You are having sleep problem. Last night you didn't sleep properly. Can you concentrate properly on work? Not possible, right? So therefore, the salary, whatever given by the company, that should be able to fulfill the physiological needs of the employee, that is food, shelter, clothing, sex, sleep, warmth, or any such basic necessities of life. Okay. Here we should differentiate between need and want. Okay. Water is need of life, but having a mango juice is not need, that is want, right? Thirst can be fulfilled by drinking a cup of water, but expecting something else, right, that becomes want. So therefore, here it is not want satisfying, it is just a need satisfying. Therefore, the salary whatever given should be able to satisfy the basic or physiological needs. Once the basic needs are fulfilled, then the employee thinks about the next step, that is safety and security. Okay. Safety of what? Safety of self and security of the job. So, that job should be capable enough to provide safety and security, right? Safety of the job, security of the job, as well as safety of life, and he should be able to cover himself from the future uncertainties. Therefore, employee invest money in LIC or pension plans, and he expects that the employer must be able to give good pension plan, right? Then only he considers that the job is giving me security after the retirement. I can lead the life independently without depending financially on others. Therefore, if the job is providing such characteristics, that is maybe LIC or pension plans or any other such future benefits, then it will attract, right? Then safety and security, security of job basically and security of life, right? So, generally the employees who are working in industries, every day they are exposing themselves to the risk, right? The people who are sitting in an office, administrative office, who are sitting in front of computer, they do not have threat of life, but those employees who are working with the machineries, they have more threat, right? The people who are working in chemical industries, they have more risk than other employees working in any other organization or department, right? So therefore, the company should be able to give considerable compensation, and it should secure them against death, against illness, or against any injury, right? Whenever employee dies accidentally, maybe inside the premises or outside the premises, then the company should be able to give financial benefits to the family members, the gratuity or leave encashment or provident fund or any other financial benefits must be transferred to the family members. And against illness, right, the company should provide good medical benefit or medical facility to employee as well as his dependents, right. So, medical policy may vary from company to company depending upon their rules and regulations, but whatever, a considerable amount has to be given to the employee whenever he gets admitted to the hospital for any health reasons. Okay. And then any industrial accident takes place, any injury takes place, then the company should give compensation. Okay. These are the minimum expectations of an employee regarding safety and security, safety and security of job, of life, as well as financial security. Okay. After fulfilling the two needs, one is physiological need and the other one is safety and security need, then he starts thinking about social needs. Human being is social animal, right? We cannot live in isolation. We cannot lead life alone without the family members, without friends, right? We need company. We expect that we must join a group, we should have good friends, we should have someone to share our feelings, to share our viewpoints, to help us in the times of difficulty, and to have emotional security, right? Having friends, having family members, having kids, having wife, having husband, having parents, everything adds to emotional security, right? So, therefore, that kind of emotional security need that arises later when these two are fulfilled. Therefore, employee, he wants to get involved in friendship circles, he makes friends, he starts sharing his views. You might have seen some people joining junior chamber or Lions Club. Why they join such groups or such community? Why? To make themselves involved in a group which is having their own taste, right? Which is having the taste and which is capable of giving a kind of confidence or a kind of security that they are also accepted by others. So, that feeling of love, feeling of emotional security, feeling of friendship, that becomes much more important in social need. Therefore, he starts thinking that I should involve myself in any other group, that may be religious group, that may be cultural group, or any other group, maybe inside the premises or outside the premises of a company, and therefore that motivates. Okay. Then after fulfilling these three needs, then the employee starts thinking about esteem needs. Okay. What is esteem need? Expecting respect, expecting higher social status, that is called as a esteem need. He expects that the job whatever I have with me, that should be able to increase my social status, right? Generally, the tendency of people that the status of the person is valued more on the basis of the position they are having in the company and the money, the luxury, whatever they are having in their life. It is tendency of people, right? So, if one person asks, what are you doing? I am a chartered accountant, right? Chartered accountant is having more social status, more respect than the ordinary clerk who is working in bank or any other small office, right? So, therefore, every human being is willing to gain that kind of social status, that respect, and that respect is that need, that desire of having social status will be fulfilled with the such position, and it is possible only an employee is given that kind of opportunity. And the last one is self-actualization. Okay. Self-actualization, unleashing the potential of a human being to the maximum extent possible is called self-esteem. Okay. There is a statement called, what a man can be, he must be. What a man can be, what are the highest limits of his capabilities, and that capabilities should be trained and he should attain that particular stage. Okay, that is called as self-actualization. When we think about self-actualization, then esteem needs, social needs, safety and security needs, physiological needs become immaterial. Okay. You might have heard about the Asia's fastest painter called Vilas Naik. He was working for IBM company and he was working in HR department, and basically he is a good artist. Right from his college days, he used to participate in so many competitions, and wherever he participated, he won always first prize. Okay, the talent was there inside, and something was lacking in him, that he wanted to become an artist. So one day what he did, he quit his job, that job which gave him all the needs, what physiological need, safety and security, social need, esteem need, everything was fulfilled, but still he quit, and he started involving himself only in painting, and today he has become the world's famous speed painter. Okay, so he self actualized himself, the talent of painting. He realized what exactly he is willing to do, what is his talent, and he utilized his talent, and now he has reached the highest maximum extent possible. Okay, that self actualization. So therefore, at the end, after fulfilling every need, the human beings, they start thinking about self actualization needs. Okay, so that self actualization need that differs from person to person, and identification of what I want to become depending upon my talent, it is my duty. So I have to search myself, I have to look into my own talents, and I should start developing the talent, then only it is possible to reach. Only very few people, okay, very few people think about self actualization needs, and rest they will be fulfilling in, they will be busy in fulfilling social or safety or physiological or esteem needs. Okay, here is a table which explains the example of different needs. So the individual example, what is the example for physiological needs? Need for food, shelter, clothing. Safety means need for physical and financial security. Then social need means need for love, friendship. Then esteem need means need for status. Then self actualization means need for growth and need for fulfillment of all our expectations. Then the organizational examples, physiological need means basic salary, the basic salary whatever provided by the employer, maybe basic salary plus dearness allowance, house rent allowance, whatever the financial benefits given. Then safety and security, pension plans, right, pension plans and job security, right. Every central or state government employee who is appointed after 2006, their pension plan is altogether different. People oppose that. Every employee who has joined the government sector after 2006, they oppose, because they feel that the amount whatever they are going to receive at the time of retirement may not be sure, whereas in case of general provident fund, every month amount will be set aside, the contribution of employer and employee, it will be deposited in one account, and according to the rules of central government, interest will be given, and that interest go on accumulating till the retirement, and they are sure the amount of retirement benefit whatever they are going to receive. But whereas in new pension scheme, it is not like that. The monthly contribution of employer and employee, it will be invested in share market, right. So we know very well about share market. Share market today, if it is in a rising state, tomorrow the share market may fall, and the employee may not be able to receive good amount of money. So as there is no conformity in receiving the retirement benefits, people generally oppose, because they do not feel it as a secured one, right. Then security, job security is much more important, right. So today I am working, there is no guarantee that tomorrow I will be continuing in the same office, there is no guarantee, right. If the company is not working profitably, if it is not productive enough, if it is not earning the expected profits, then the employer may take the decision of terminating the employees, right. During COVID situation, the same thing happened. Take the example of teachers. Majority teachers who are working in private sector, their job is in threatening stage. some employers are giving 50% salary, some employers are giving 40% salary, and some employers, they have told that you will be taken back only after the government instructions. When the students start attending the regular classes like last year, then we will be reappointing you, till then you be please at home, right. They will be not given any financial benefit. So, there is no job security, right. So, if there is no job security, then there is no point in thinking about social needs, friendship, then appreciation. Who is there to appreciate, right. So, therefore, job security, and then social need means cordial relationship with the colleagues, right. Cordial relationship with the colleagues is much more important. When we are working in a group, then harmony in thinking between the team members becomes much more important. If we have friendship or friendly relationship with the team, then any kind of difference of opinion can be solved easily, and we can move towards success. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. Then esteem need means promotion or good job title, right. Managing director is always a prestigious role given than ordinary clerk, right. So, therefore, everyone is willing to receive or willing to be in a prestigious job position. Then self actualization means challenging job or achievement of goals, right. So, therefore, these are the organizational examples of this motivation theory, that is need hierarchy theory. This theory is based on some of the assumptions. What are the basic assumptions of need hierarchy theory? The first assumption is that the human behavior is based on needs. Human behavior is based on needs, right. Needs always direct the behavior. If certain thing does not motivate me, then definitely there is no point in showing that kind of behavior, right. As I said earlier, I go search of food because I am hungry, right. If I am not hungry, then there is no point in searching for food, right. I do not have a job, so I search for a job. So, already I have a job, then there is no point in searching for one more job, right. So, therefore, human behavior is based on certain needs, and needs are hierarchical, okay. His second important assumption is that needs are hierarchical, okay. This table is showing hierarchical set of needs. First, he has to fulfill physiological needs. Once he fulfills, then only he thinks about safety and security, okay. If safety is not a matter of worry, then only he thinks about social needs, okay. If he has good amount of friends, and if he has a group to share his feelings, everything, then only he thinks about status, prestige, appreciation and all, okay. If he has already a job which is having a status, then only he thinks about bringing everything whatever inside him, okay. But actually it is not so. The set of needs is not exactly applicable to everyone, but it differs from person to person, okay. For some people, salary may not be important, okay, money is not important, challenging job becomes important, prestigious position becomes much more important, right. For some people, safety and security is not important. They do not think about security of self or security of health. For example, people join army or naval wing, right. If they think much about their safety and security of the life, definitely they will not apply and they will join, right. Those who really do not bother about their life, such people join army and they face thrilling challenges every day until the moment they die, right. So, therefore, the needs, the drives, the urges vary from person to person, and practically they do not follow a certain order or hierarchy, but this theory says that needs are always hierarchical in nature. And the third one, satisfied need no longer becomes motivator. Okay. Satisfied need no longer becomes motivator. Okay. Take for example basic needs, food, clothing, shelter. You have a good house. Okay. So, owning one more house will not become motivator. Already you have satisfied, right? What we lack in our life, for that we search, right? Therefore, always it is common for every human being, right? I do not have a beautiful bag with me, right? So, therefore, I dream about purchasing a new bag, simple example, right? I do not have a car with me, okay? My friend is owning a car, he always travels by car, but I travel by bus. So, what motivates me? Owning a car motivates me, right? So, therefore, fulfilled desire, fulfilled need, it will not become motivator, and person moves to the next stage only when the earlier need is satisfied. Okay. Moves to next step only when earlier need is satisfied. Okay. These are the 4 important assumptions of this theory. So, until and unless he fulfills physiological and safety needs, he will not think about social needs. These are the assumptions of this need hierarchy theory, that is human behavior is based on need. Needs are hierarchical in nature. Satisfied need no longer becomes a motivator and moves to next step only when the earlier need is satisfied. So, this theory is commonly acceptable by everyone, and this theory is simple to understand, but it has some loopholes that, as I said earlier, every human being does not follow the same set of needs. It differs from person to person. Even though one person does not think about the first 4, he may be interested in achieving the last one, self actualization, right. Some employees may be busy in fulfilling or working hard to fulfill only physiological needs till the end of their job life. They may not think about self actualization, self esteem, right. So, therefore, differs from a person to person. Okay. Next, we will study about the last concept, that is financial and non-financial incentives of motivation. So, we understood what is motivation, we understood what are the different motivating aspects, why motivation is important. Okay. We understood what is the theory of motivation given by Abraham Maslow. So, now it is the duty of every manager to motivate the employees. How to motivate? What are the various techniques of motivation? Okay. Techniques of motivation. In Sanskrit, there is one statement, Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda. Okay. These 4 are also considered as motivation techniques. Sama. So, whenever at the first stage you start convincing the person, right, you convince politely, you explain why it has to be done. In organization also, employee is convinced by the manager. Whenever the changes are applied, then he is convinced, and the manager takes the responsibility of converting his negative into positive. He is educated about the every pros and cons, right. He will be educated about the opportunities whatever he is going to receive, right. Dana, offering something. As I said in the last class, a child is offered a chocolate for completing its homework, right. And your teacher might have motivated you, if you score 100 marks in the coming examination, I will give prize, right? That recognition, okay. Prize is not important. The item whatever you receive, it may be a pen or it may be any material or whatever, that is not important, but the recognition, right? That recognition makes you to prepare well for the examination, right? That is dana. So, here in company also the employees are offered maybe promotion, maybe increment, maybe incentives, maybe bonus or maybe shares or whatever they are offered, okay. Sama, dana, bheda. Bheda means differentiating. At the end of every year, the performance of the employee is rated, that is called as performance appraisal. Employees are rated as A, B, C or D. The employee who has received A grade means he is working towards the organization, he is contributing maximum and he is the real asset of the company, okay, and he has self motivation, okay, he is always having positive attitude towards the company, so he has been awarded A. He is more productive compared to all other employees, and the person who is awarded B grade, he will be good employee, but he needs, there is scope for much more improvement. C means average performance, needs lot of improvement. D means that person is eligible for taking corrective action or strict action, okay. So, bheda, differentiating. So, the person who has scored B grade, definitely he will be motivated to score A next year, right. Same way C can think about either getting B grade or A grade, and the person who has given D grade, definitely he has to work. If he wants to survive in the company, then he has to start working hard, and his ranking should be next year C, B or A, okay. Sama, dana, bheda, danda. Danda means if the employee is not following the rules and regulations, if he is not contributing anything for the development of the company, then he will be threatened and he will be demoted. His financial benefits whatever will be withdrawn, he will be demoted, he will be transferred to some other remote place, or finally he will be terminated from the job, okay. So, therefore, these are the motivating techniques. Here we are going to study the different motivating techniques applied by the company. Motivating techniques or incentives. What is incentive? Incentive means any financial or non-financial reward given to the employee. Financial or non-financial reward given to the employee for maximum contribution is called as incentive. So, here financial incentives and non-financial intensive. So, techniques can be classified into two categories. One is financial incentives, another one is non-financial incentives. Non-financial incentives. These are the two techniques of motivation applied in almost all the organization. There are several types of financial incentive. What is financial incentive? Any motivation which is given in the form of money or monetary benefits is called as a financial incentives. Therefore, a company can provide financial incentives in the form of pay and allowance. Pay and allowance. What is pay? Pay means always basic pay. You might know about the salary structure. A salary, that is the amount whatever received by an employee at the end of every month, that consists of basic salary, dearness allowance and house rent allowance, special allowance or any other allowance depending upon the work nature of the employee. So, that is called as a salary. Therefore, salary or monetary benefits given and regular increments in government sector, the increment will be fixed at the time of entry into the organization. Okay, irrespective of the performance, increment will be given every year. But in private sector, what happens? Increment is depending upon the performance of the employee, and increment differs from person to person. Therefore, performance appraisal becomes yardstick to decide increment. Therefore, whatever the total financial emoluments, that is salary as well as other allowances, increments given is called as one of the financial incentive. And the second one is productivity linked wage system. Productivity linked wage system. Productivity linked wage system. Piece rate wage system. What is piece rate wage system? F.W. Taylor introduced for the first time. Differential piece rate system. That is, incentive will be decided upon the productivity. The one who is more productive will be given more financial benefits. The lesser productive person will be given less financial benefits. The marketing department is the best example for this productivity linked financial benefits, because there the salary will be fixed depending upon the work done by him, the number of products sold, or if he is working in recovery department of a bank, then the total recoveries whatever he is doing every month, that decides the financial benefits. Therefore, the second incentive is productivity linked wage system, and the third one is bonus. Bonus will be declared in a special occasion, maybe once in a year or during festival seasons, Deepavali or Navaratri or any other situation, special occasions. That time employees are given bonus, and that bonus will be depending either on the performance of the employee or on the profit earned by the company. Some industries have the culture of gifting gold coins, silver coins, or wrist watches, or electronic items, or any other such valuable memorable items once in a year. So, maybe during Yugadi, or maybe at the year end, or maybe during annual day celebration of the company. Okay, that depends upon the culture of the company. They have such attitude, so that also considered as bonus. So, giving bonus is also one of the financial incentive. Then profit sharing. So, there will be an agreement between employer and employee at the time of entering into contract, that some portion of the profit after distributing to everyone, we know what is distributed from profit is distributed to many aspects. First, shareholders, equity shareholders, preference shareholders, dividend has to be given, debenture interest has to be given, and whatever the loan installment, that has to be given, right. And if still amount remains in the hands of the company, then that amount will be distributed to the employees, maybe in cash or in kind. That is considered as a profit sharing. And co-partnership or stock option. MRPL is having that kind of culture, that at the end of every year little amount will be distributed to the employees in the form of profit sharing. Okay. Then stock option. Stock option means the employees are given an opportunity of purchasing the shares of the company lesser than the market price. Okay. While allotting the shares, the company will separately give some shares to the employees of the company, and these shares are sold not at the market price just like to the common shareholders, but it will be provided to them at a lesser price than the market price. And Infosys even today it follows a stock option plan, and if shares are purchased, then that means the person who purchased the share becomes a shareholder of the company. Who is shareholder? Shareholder is owner of the company. So, therefore, a kind of satisfaction will be there that I too have become part of the company, I have become shareholder of the company. So, therefore, my hard working will result not only in my financial benefits officially, that is salary, increment or any other thing, but as a shareholder also I can earn good financial benefits, and therefore it also motivates the employee. And then retirement benefit. The gratuity, the amount of gratuity or pension fund, whatever an employee is going to receive at the time of retirement, that also matters a lot, right. So, therefore, retirement benefit plans also one of the motivating aspect. And the last one, perquisites. Any financial benefit given to the employee other than the salary means other than basic salary, other than dearness allowance, house rent allowance, something else is given. For example, some companies have the practice of refunding school fees of the children to certain limit. The employees who are working in central government sector, their children's school fees will be refunded, and they have a certain standard. Kendriya Vidyalaya fees amount will be refunded, that is credited back to their account, and they provide loan facility, housing loan facility, vehicle loan facility, festival advance will be given, that kind of perquisites also add. And sometimes a car will be given by the company along with the driver, and worker will be given to maintain the house, and worker will be given to maintain the garden of the house, right. So, therefore, such kind of benefits also motivates the employee, and it is considered as a financial incentive. And along with there are non-financial incentives. Which are the non-financial incentive? First one is status. Majority people, they are behind gaining status, right. As I said earlier, chartered accountant will be having more status in the eyes of people than a common clerk or the peon, right. What do you want to become? I want to become a doctor, right. So, whenever we heard the word doctor or engineer or the lawyer or the chartered accountant, so we feel that the status of the person is high, right. So, therefore, giving higher status, higher job profile, manager, then general manager, right, then managing director, okay, giving opportunity to go to the higher positions, that is that also motivates. And the second one is organizational facilities or organizational climate. And according to the status, facilities are also provided. You might have observed when you enter into branch of a bank, clerk will be sitting in a row continuously, right. They will be given a separate chair, but they do not have any separate cabin. But the person who sits in a separate cabin definitely is not a clerk, right. He must be manager of that branch, and he is provided with the wheeling chair, with the air condition, and good quality of furnitures, attractive interiors, right. So, that differentiate his status, right. Therefore, status matters a lot, and status motivates. And the second one is organizational climate. The totality of everything, okay, is considered as organizational climate. What? Safety, security, then opportunity to show the talents, appreciation, then peace of mind in the workplace, everything considered as a organizational climate. Therefore, the expectation of the employee must be fulfilled in the company. So, some people want to willing to take the risk, okay, that risk taking opportunities must be given to the employee, okay. Therefore, good organizational climate has to be provided and always positive work environment, it helps the employee to contribute maximum. And the second one, career advancement opportunity. For example, one person has joined the post of a clerk after completion of his BCom or any other graduation. Later on, if he wants to excel himself, if he is willing to move further, then the bank must provide opportunity to take promotions, right? Opportunity must be provided to write officer post exam and to hold the position of a officer. That career advancement must be there. So, as years go, he must be given opportunities to promote to the higher position, higher responsibilities. So, that is career advancement opportunity. And then job enrichment. Job enrichment. What is job enrichment? It is concerned with the designing jobs that include greater variety of work content, okay, which is having greater variety of work content and require higher knowledge of skills, then that is called as a job enrichment. So, therefore, an employee, if he is willing to become all-rounder, if he is willing to work in all the sections related to a particular job, then that opportunity has to be given to the employees. So, other than doing the routine jobs, he must be given some challenging opportunities. Say for example, the lecturers working in your college, they might have taken the responsibility, one lecturer has taken the responsibility of cultural team, another person may train you in sports activities, another lecturer may be officer of NCC, another lecturer may be officer of NSS, right. So, therefore, the opportunity is provided by the management to show their talent, right. So, there the knowledge required for a lecturer is entirely different from the knowledge to hold the position of NCC officer, right. So, along with his main job, that is teaching, okay, he is becoming a motivator, a role model to the students by either holding the post of NSS officer, NCC officer, or trains the students in drama or singing or dance or any other art form, or he trains you in the field, he teaches you how to play cricket, how to play kabaddi, how to play volleyball, how to play throw ball, right. So, therefore, that kind of opportunities are provided, and then that is called job enrichment. And employee recognition program. So, recognition is required for everyone, appreciation is must for everyone. So, it is equally important to appreciate as equally important to punish. Generally, the teachers or the parents, what they do, they scold their children whenever the mistake is committed by them, but sometimes they may forget to praise whenever they have done any work properly, or whenever they have done something good, then they might have forgotten to appreciate. So, therefore, appreciation is much more important. A child is learning to ride the bicycle, right. Then what kind of motivation is required? You will not fall. You ride the bicycle, positive words, it boosts the confidence of the child. But whereas if you say that don't ride it, you will fall, and if you fall, then you will be injured and you might have be admitted to hospital. If you say all those negative things, then the child may stop touching the cycle, right. Therefore, appreciation is required for each and every one, right. So, appreciate the good work of the employee, right. Appreciate the talent, appreciate the hard work, and that recognition is required. So, generally to provide opportunity of appreciation and recognition, generally competitions are conducted for employees. The department wise employees compete with each other and prizes will be awarded. During Kannada Rajyotsava or Gandhi Jayanti or Independence Day or company annual day, competitions will be conducted for the employees, maybe sports or games or cultural, and they participate and the winners will be allotted with prizes and their names will be put upon the notice board, right. So, whenever special achievement is done, then what is required? Appreciation, recognition is required. So, some mementos or some appreciation has to be given so that the news will be spread to other employees and they become role model to others. Okay. So, therefore, employee recognition program is also one of the non-financial motivator. Then job security. The basic thing, right. If my job itself is not secured, today I am there in the office, I am working, tomorrow while entering into the office premises, if they say that we are not able to continue as a part of this organization, you please move from here. What I can do, right? What I can think about my future, not possible, right. So, therefore, job security is also much more important. A job has to provide job security, right. When there is job security, then I will be free of tension, free of fear of losing the job, and I may contribute maximum to the betterment of the company. Otherwise, I will be thinking always negative and I may stop contributing towards the company. Okay. Then the next one is employee participation. Participation in what? Participation in decision making. We know that there are 3 levels of organization, 3 levels, top level, middle level and lower level, right. So, top level they formulate the plans, they give order, they give instructions, everything, but some opportunity has to be given even to the lower level employees to communicate the suggestions, right. Everyone is having the thinking capacity, right. Everyone has their own set of talents, set of capabilities, right. So, therefore, problem solving can be done easily with the suggestions of employees. So, employees has to be given opportunity to give suggestion, participate in decision making, and it always motivates. And the last one is employee empowerment. So, employee empowerment means giving freedom and powers to the subordinates. Giving freedom and powers to the subordinates. When the subordinates are just expected to follow the instructions given by the leader, then there will not be any scope to show their talent, right. The manager, even though he said some wrong things, then inevitably the subordinates may have to follow it, right. But they have to given the opportunity of freedom and thinking independently, act independently within their limits of responsibility and authority, then it is called as a job enrichment. So, empowerment, employee empowerment, and that is also one of the non-financial motivator. Okay. So, which are the financial motivators? Pay and allowance, productivity linked wage system, bonus, profit sharing, stock option, retirement benefits, perquisites. Then which are the non-financial incentives? Status, organizational climate, career advancement opportunity, job enrichment, employee recognition program, then job security, employee participation and employee empowerment. Okay. This is about motivation. In the next class, we will discuss about the third element, that is the leadership. What is leadership? Then what are the qualities of a good leader, then what are the various techniques of a leadership, why leadership is important, and what are the benefits of a good leader. Okay, all those will be discussed in the next class. Thank you.